Trubisky to throw for it, gonna go deep down the sideline, and it is caught! George Pickens, what a catch! And not a bad throw by Mitchell Trubisky either.
Welcome back to 5-Star Matchup. If you like what we do, make sure you're subscribed now, and please consider joining at patreon.com/5SMU to support the show. Well, after the Steelers' slim hopes to sneak back into the playoff hunt were unceremoniously dashed by the rival Ravens last week, do they have it in them to get back into the W column for the 6th time this year? Let's take a look. Start this one off with a 3-and-out for the Sam Darnold-led Panthers, and this drive is the only thing smaller than those cheesy numbers on their shoulder pads. Over to last week's GOAT, and I don't mean the good kind, Mitchell Trubisky, and here it's a nice hunt and peck throw to the man of the day, Mr. Deontay J, for an early conversion to get the Steelers moving. 2nd and 7 now, and it's a sneaky little handoff around the edge for the Najee man following the extremely solid Mason Cole, who continues to play well in his first season in the Berg. Gotta love where this run game is headed over the last month. A great sign for the hopefully more prosperous 2023 season. More of the same here for Mr. Harris, who's blasting through truck-sized holes, the likes of which he last saw at Alabama. You'll love to see the Najee man getting healthier and better as this slog of a season goes on. More of the power back version of Najee, I demand we embrace this variant more, and a very Tom Brady-esque sneak for Money Mitch to convert, and yet again the Steelers were gangbusters on 3rd downs, eventually going 12 of 16 on the day. Apparently the phrase run out of bounds is simply not a part of Jaylen Warren's lexicon, as the undrafted bowling ball takes this catch and absolutely destroys some poor DB's soul on his way into the black and gold business zone. Always one to oblige with a double Windsor and freshly pressed slacks, it's the Quad King himself cutting back and racing to the outside for the delightfully easy score as the Steelers jump out to a lead? Pittsburgh 7, Carolina nothing. Like I've said before, it's frankly incredible to see the physical beating Najee has taken over his first 2 years, and both times he's gotten better as the season has worn on. Because you know we're not allowed to have nice things anymore, of course Sam Darnold isn't seeing ghosts, but rather wide open receivers as he grabs a chunk on a crosser to Marshall, followed by a gigantic 3rd down conversion to their best, DJ Moore, and the Panthers are rapidly in business. Looks like Bob the Brick Spillane biting a little bit too hard on the play fake here, leaving Moore open across midfield, and don't you just know the Panthers are tying this one up? 3rd and 13, the mediocre Darnold gets an hour and a half to read War and Peace against the Steelers' woeful 4-man rush and finds his man Terrence Marshall streaking past the very burnt piece of French toast that is James Pierre, and Pittsburgh is doing what they can to make Sam Darnold look like the second coming of Jake Delhomme. Into the second quarter now, and forget Delhomme because it's shades of Cam Newton for the scramblin' and ramblin' Sam, who fires on the run and somehow connects with DJ Moore for the equalizing score. Why is it that when the defense plays good, the offense is hapless? And on the ever so rare occasions the offense is good, the defense does this. I guess that's just life as a Steelers fan in 2022, eh? Tie game. Back to the Steelers' officially dominant ground game, and goddamn, I can't even believe those words are coming out of my mouth. It's been such a long trip back to run game relevance, and your boy could not be more hyped for the future of that development. Another sneak converts for the ever-athletic Trubisky, and on the ensuing 3rd and 3, Money Mitch says, "Fuck your dink, I'm going for the doink," and fires a laser beam down the field that's just effortlessly hauled in by the effervescent George Finger Pickens on the far sideline. Now look, I know we as fans have a tendency to overrate our own, but I gotta tell ya, the frequency with which I've seen Pickens make the extraordinary look ordinary is shocking, especially for a rookie. As you know, there's nothing less foreign to Jaylen Warren than a crunchy 1st down on the ground, and the Steelers aren't just cooking, they're lighting the whole goddamn kitchen on fire. Another chance for Jaylen comes up just barely short of the end zone, but on 2nd and goal, he laughs uproariously at the count 'em 3 Panthers defenders who try to no avail to stop him as he plows in for the first score of his career. How can you not root for a dude like this? Reminds me of the offensive version of the one-time Steeler great Mini Mike Hilton. Got no right to be as good as he is, but gets it done through sheer force of will. Nothing but love for the rookie. Steelers 14, Panthers 7. Back to Darnold in the Panthers' rudderless offense, and it's a nothing burger for the Sandman on third, and it's back over to the Steelers' suddenly sizzling offense. PTSD much? Unfortunately for Steelers fans, it's an almost oops for Mitchell, who tries his best to throw a pick on third, but thankfully it's a holiday miracle, and the ball falls harmlessly to the turf. With nothing to lose but his dignity, Darnold takes a page out of the Trubisky playbook and chucks a prayer deep, but Pickens, DJ Moore is not, and they can't connect. Panthers find themselves just where a terrible passing team doesn't want to be, which is third and forever, and it's not a ghost getting him this time, but rather the should-be three-time defending Defensive Player of the Year, Mr. Trent Jordan Watt, screaming around the edge and crushing the dastardly Darnold to put this drive 6 feet under. Rarely in position to extend a lead, the Steelers' offense finds themselves with an opportunity for the pivotal double score pre and post half, and Trubisky gets them moving with a medium completion to George, but Canada gets just a little too Canadian with the play call here, and the Pirate Steven Sims goes down behind the line to put him behind the 8 ball. But on the very next play, it's the somewhat improving Sims making up for it with the grab just past midfield to make it a 3rd and short. Unfortunately, it's another very close almost oops by the man we call Mitch, whose pass gets tipped, but that's probably a good thing as there was nothing but trouble waiting for it anyway, and the Steelers fail to convert for surprisingly one of the only times of the day. Back to the shockingly conservative with nothing to lose and everything to gain Panthers offense, and they keep it on the ground for nothing on first, followed by a completion for a few on second. But would you look at this fucking closing speed by Minka here? The Magic One flies in from nowhere to get the pivotal pass breakup and stop the Panthers dead in their tracks with just over 50 seconds left in the half. No idea what the very unimpressive at punt returner Steven Sims is thinking here as he lets this one go over his head, and it's down deep in Steelers territory to sadly minimize any chance of the Berg boys tacking on before the half. Just a nifty little tote for Warren, who was electric all day. He even forgets just briefly that he lacks the freakish ups of the Najee, but good try. And knowing better than to press his luck with the typically risky Trubisky, Mike T lets the clock bleed and we grab some pretzels and orange slices with the score Steelers 14, Panthers 7. Hey, do you like the holidays? Do you like 5-star matchup? I'm assuming the answer to both of those questions is a yes, and if you're feeling less like a Grinch and more like a Mitch, the good one we got today and the second half against Tampa Bay, please consider joining our Patreon at patreon.com/5SMU. It's a safe, secure, and extremely easy way to support the show. Remember, we can't make ad revenue for the highlight show, and it's a ton of work. If you'd like the show to stick around, I'd really appreciate it if you could find it in your books to drop a measly $4 a month in our bucket. But if not, that's cool too. Just make sure you keep watching. Now roll the game. We're back from the half, and who the hell ever heard of a 21-play drive? In this economy? Mitch gets this one going with a connection to DJ, followed by a very tough conversion on the ground for the relentlessly forward Najee, and the pot is full of water and on the stove. Of course, a little spilt water never hurt anyone, and here Mitch makes a smart play of aborting a failed screen, but that sets up a 3rd and long, and as we've seen all season, that's weirdly where Mitch is at his best. And here it's no exception as number 10 stands in and finds the exceedingly open Deontay for a giant conversion. Seems the Panthers dedicated their energy to stopping Pickens and, well, I'm not so sure that was the right call. More ground game gashes for the second-year back who is reading the line so much better than he was 2 months ago, and the Steelers again find themselves in a very convertible 3rd and 1. Time to set sail, cause it's that man I call the Pirate doing the Claypool thing and taking this end around to infinity and beyond as the shockingly competent Steelers offense begins to simmer. 2nd and 9, it's a repeat of a few plays earlier as Mitch gets 5 full earth seconds to make up his mind and he decides to go back to DJ for another chunk, and the Steelers are chewing yards and clock like they were an overcooked piece of meat on your auntie's Christmas table. Side note, you can just feel how badly Deontay wants to break one for a score. It'll happen, my man. I hope. More of the same for the slippery as an eel Deej, who refuses to be tackled but frustratingly draws an extremely obvious personal foul for taunting to knock the boys in white and gold back a little bit. Boz needn't warm up yet though, as the Panthers still have no idea how to cover number 18, who gets most of it back, followed by yet another conversion, this time to Derek the Sledgehammer, and it's almost goal to go for the Berg boys. Another slice and dice up the gut for big number 22, who's starting to play like it, and he's just barely tackled short of pay dirt. By the way, note the clock. This is still the opening drive of the half. Insane drive by Matty C's bunch. Najee converts the first once more, and Trubisky to me looks to fall directly into the end zone on first, but is weirdly ruled short. But it's nothing to worry about because it's just another few seconds off the clock and a leap over the top for the much maligned quarterback, and the Steelers find pay dirt on the ground for the third time on the day. Passing touchdowns, who needs them? Steelers 21, Panthers 7. Looks like more of the same for the pathetic Panthers offense on first, but on second it's Chuba Hubbard breaking free of Bob the Brick Spillane and finding nothing but open grass as far as the eye can see for a field flipping and potentially momentum stealing catch and run. However, finally playing up to their potential, the Steelers pass rush gets home, first with the potential Pro Bowler Alexander the Great with his 11th on the year, followed by an unbelievable crunch by Captain Cam, who invokes a bear snatching a bag of sandwiches out of a tree. And you can break out the hammer and nails, because this drive is lifeless and in a box. But wait, what was I saying about momentum? Absolutely bonehead moment of the season award goes to the all-pro hype man Marcus Allen, who many know I'm a fan of, but there ain't no two ways to look at this one. The special teamer, for whatever reason, decides it'd be cool to walk over to the Panthers huddle and talk shit, and the refs rightly call him for a disastrous personal foul that will absolutely beg Steelers fans to demand he's cut tomorrow. Yikes. Because we've all seen this movie a million times before, Darnold obviously finds a huge chunk down the middle, but on second and long, he's reminded of who Cookie's favorite son is. Spoiler alert, it's Terrell Edmonds, who many of you still seem to be woefully unaware is a very good player. And on 3rd and 8, it's an almost equally boneheaded play called by the Cats, who design a draw for the, not very mobile Sam Darnold that goes nowhere. Great recovery by the D to hold him to 3, but still, this game could have been a wrap. Instead, it's Steelers 21, Panthers 10. Back to Mitch and the surprisingly funky bunch, but on first he can find no one and tosses it away. Najee grabs just a couple on second. I am never in favor of a 2nd and 10 run for what it's worth. And on third and schmedium, the rush gets home, and you can just feel this thing shifting, can't you? Darnold finds more to get him moving, and Sam fires a groan-worthy laser down the seam to Shi Smith, and the Panthers haven't just adopted the momentum, they've completely housebroken it, and it's sleeping in their bed. Things get a bit chippy as they weirdly were all night for two teams that have nothing in common besides the fact that they'll be chilling at home by the second week of January. But that doesn't stop the Panthers from looking deep, this time going at my man on the button, who's just slightly off the button here, and gets called for a painful PI in the end zone. Time ticking under 8 minutes, it's now or never for the black and blue Cats, but it's the continually ascending Alex Highsmith leaping across the formation for the killer and momentum stalling TFL setting up a gotta have it third for the Kitties. Unfortunately for the Carolina faithful, Trent Jordan and Godzilla Hayward packed a picnic lunch that they were planning to eat on their quarterback's grave, and down goes Darnold for the crucial sack by the Steelers' best pair. Panthers take the consolation kick and make it a 1-score game. Steelers 21, Panthers 13. Back to Najee and the Steelers offense with a chance to close this one out. Got another 21 plays in ya, boys? It's not looking too good though, as the Steelers stubbornly pounded into a packed box on first for nothing. Mitch and Pick can't connect on second, and that same number 14 picks up a shameful false start to set up a 3rd and forever, and our 5-star play of the game.
3rd and 14. Trubisky over the middle. He's got his man in the middle of the field. Deontay Johnson. And Johnson just out to the 40-yard line and up for a first down.
That's right, it's the pair of uber-talented and often maligned ballers, Deontay Johnson and Money Mitch, connecting to extend this drive and keep the simmering Panthers offense on the sidelines. My humble opinion, if they don't get this, the Panthers take the ball and probably tie it up. Filed firmly under things you love to f***ing see. It's back to the ground game for the omnipresent Najee. By the way, the Steelers ran twice as often as they threw. When's the last time that happened? Followed by another 3rd down conversion to DJ, who the Panthers couldn't stop even if Duck Hodges was clucking him the ball. And the ever important clock just keeps on ticking and ticking. Another couple runs, this time by Warren, and another sneak from Money Mitch, and the clock is getting smaller than those stupid numbers on the Panthers' shoulder pads. Sorry, I know I already made that joke, but seriously, who can even see those? What purpose do they serve other than looking tiny? Get rid of them. Steelers run a few more times but don't convert, and out trots that brass, bald, ice-blooded kicker with the heart of gold. And you already know Boz is... Eventually, the Panthers take a quick field goal, don't get the onside kick, and the Steelers wrap it up for their 4th win in their last 6 tries to raise their record to a reasonably respectable 6-8. So much like every week, I'm left to summarize a team that, despite paltry play from all units at times this year, woulda, shoulda, coulda been genuinely in the hunt for the postseason right now if just a few things had gone differently. Looking over at the AFC East teams we frustratingly went 0-4 against, 3 of the 4 have come back down to earth, and the Steelers could have easily won 2 or even 3 of those matchups. But that's old news. What did we learn today? Well, that there's a lot of hope for the refreshed and renewed Steelers ground game, which we all know has been struggling for the better part of 4 years now. Now that he's seemingly healthy, Najee is continuing to look more and more like the player he was drafted to be. Jaylen Warren is a great piece that will platoon and serve as the primary backup to the Naj man for years to come. Free agent acquisitions like Mason Cole and James Daniels continue to prove their worth. Maybe, just maybe, even Matt Canada is starting to figure things out in the booth. What does it all mean? Well, it means that the Pittsburgh Steelers were a terrible team in September and October, and they've been a pretty decent one in November and December. I'd say that's the definition of progress, wouldn't you? Here we go. And if you're still here, please do think about supporting the show on Patreon. We desperately need to wrap up the year with a few more supporters to help keep this thing on track. Or if you'd rather grab some merch, that'd be cool too. You can find links to all of that below, including the very dope Kenny Pickett Gradient jersey, which will be retired after this season. Happy holidays, and I'll catch you next week.